They made you work for it, John. Obviously great to get that first win, but you had to work hard.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, both teams just was not surprising. You had to really work hard for it. We fought at different times. We got on top, and just a couple of goals just before three-quarter time. Just a couple of little things that led them back in the game. And obviously they are up and going in the last quarter. But just a couple of times we had opportunities to play really good, strong footy. We did some really strong efforts in the air and on the deck. It sort of stood out to us that aspect of the game.
Must be thrilled with how the forward line functioned in that first half.
Yeah, it was. It was a bit about our ball moving up the ground as well, and making sure we keep adjusting. You've got to earn the right to be able to use the ball, and you've got to get your defence and your scramble right. And once you get that okay, you can use the ball and move it into our forward line. And it certainly helps up the ground what we were doing with the footy to be able to take it inside 50 and kick the goals that were hit the scoreboard like we were in the first half.
What do you see Tom McCartan long term? His defensive spot?
Look, I don't know yet. I'm not sort of. It's not something I think we need to sort of say this is what his spot's going to be. What I do know is that he's a competitor at either end. It's his first game for the year after 2 reserves games, and he comes in and just competes and keeps it simple, competes hard, and whether that's down back or up forward, we'll play him where we need him. But sort of a bit of a philosophy that there's nothing wrong with those key forwards playing back and developing that way as well. And he did some good things today.
Isaac had been a little bit down on his own lofty standards the first 2 rounds, John, but how pleased were you with what he did today? Yeah,
he was good. Look, he sore ankle there for a couple of weeks, which he hurt in the last JLT game as well, and that gets lost in the mix a little bit. When you play like he does, he was lucky he got away with, he didn't get a syndesmosis in that last game, so he was fortunate. And a bit longer week, he was able to get it right, train really well last session, and he had the mix absolutely what we'd like, which is the mix midfield forward and taking marks either end, going forward, putting pressure on. With his ability and his courage overhead is outstanding.
Hayward, McVeigh, is there any update there, or is there anyone else?
No, nothing yet. It just looks like a quad at this stage, so I'm not sure how long that'd be.
Has Will broken his jaw?
Yeah, Hayward, we suspect has broken his jaw, yeah.
5 days to turn around. What do you do this week? Obviously, we haven't seen too many 5-day break. Not much. Yeah, is it as simple as that? Do you just let them put the feet up, or?
Well, it's not so much put the feet up. It's just go to work. It's recover, and you need to be able to do that. We'll have our medical staff, our conditioning guys will work that out. We've seen, it's just a matter of doing it well. That's what we'll do. We'll do everything well this week and get ourselves right to go on Thursday night. It won't be an easy one, but we'll get ourselves right.
A lot of talk during the week about off the ball, niggling and whatnot. The start of the game, there was a fair bit between Jones and Buddy, and then Buddy got a free kick. Are you confused at all with what you can and can't do, or what's a free kick and what isn't?
I don't know. Sorry, I didn't see those,
yeah.
And so I'd have to step back and have a look at them. I just think we've just got to be careful we don't tip over to the point of, there's... we don't want to do anything silly off the ball, but it's also a contact sport. We just got to be mindful that a goal either way is a big penalty to pay. We don't want our players doing silly things, obviously, and I agree with that. But we just got to get that balance right, and we want to make sure if they're there, if their free kicks are paid, that they're actually there.
Were you comfortable with how the game was played in that first quarter, and then shootout either end, which I'm tipping isn't really the way you had liked it in the past?
No, well, we were efficient with the ball, but we just didn't probably stop it as well as what we could have in our defensive 50, and we were probably all flying for the ball, which was admirable. We were all trying to do the right thing, and that just left a couple of them on the ground. So it was just to make sure we tweaked that a little bit, which we did as the game went on. So that was probably the area in the first quarter. It was with the want of helping each other out, and just sometimes we just tipped over the top a little bit, but I'd rather do that than not.
Good to know you've got that in you, though, to score quickly and heavily in a short space of time.
Yeah, we know we can. We just, it's about making sure that you get all parts of your game right, just not your ability to score. But we've been comfortable that we can score. It's just a matter of using the ball well when we get a hold of it, and not only inside 50 but up in the ground as well.
You would have sat in the stands last night. What have you made of the days, given you've probably going to put the microscope on them pretty closely this week.
These?
Yeah.
I'll get into them this week. I'm sort of take a deep breath tonight and I'll have a look at them probably on the way home on the plane. But we'll have to get into it as coaches, obviously, pretty quickly. So
is it a good time to get them? They look perhaps underdone.
Well, I saw them and kick 7 goals straight in the second quarter, and they looked all right to me then. So I just think, their ability, they kicked a lot of goals. Both teams kicked accurately last night, but I just think, you look at the win-loss this time of the year, but you look at the footy that they played last night, there's still some pretty good footy they played. They were able to hit the scoreboard and be damaging, and so we're mindful of that. That's what I saw.
What do you think of the two Callums? How'd you score them? Callum Sinclair,
good.
Callum Mills,
Yeah.
Mills on Murphy,
Yeah.
and Sinclair, obviously, they were a man down in ruck, but he took full toll.
Yeah. Both of them really contributed. Some of the efforts that Mills did in the air was just so courageous. He's just got to make sure that he looks after himself at the same time. But he was good. He impacted, and Callum was good around the ball as well. He got a cut eye in the last quarter and couldn't play the last 10 minutes without coming off. But it should be right for next week.
James Rose, good and needful. Is he one in the mix? Is he close?
We have to go back and I haven't spoken to our reserves guys, so just haven't had a chance to. Spoke to them before our game started. It was only about a quarter and a half in, we'd have to get back and have a look. Obviously, we'll need probably a couple going into next week as well. And Jeremy Laidler, our reserves coach, is mindful of it. He would have eased the load off a few of them in that last quarter up there, just to mindful of that 5-day break.
Sorry. Zach Jones looks to be thriving in the extra midfield minutes. What did you make of his game?
Yeah, he's really he was terrific. Just played really well. His speed around the ball, had a good balance of hard ball, loose ball, and was damaging with ball in hand. He was good. Yeah, really good.
Is that the plan now, that he'll play more in there than down
Yeah,
back?
we'd like to, but it's like you play them where you need them at the time. And that's inside, it's wing, it's sometimes half back, depending on the player availability, what the team looks like, the balance. Tommy McCartan had to go back today, so you have a long-term view of playing Tommy forward, but he had to go back for the betterment of the team, and did that. And so you're mindful of making sure you get that balance right. But Zach, we thought inside today was very good. He was good.
A few years ago, listening to you talk about where to play certain guys. A few years ago you had a more experienced team you sort of knew, which you sort of had the same sort of blokes playing the positions every week.
Yeah.
Now are you sort of still finding out where each player is best suited? Is it more a learning thing?
Yeah, it is. It's not necessarily a bad thing either. We just we've transitioned our side a bit, and we'll continue to do it. But we can still we'll get them where we need them and see how they go. And with Jones midfield or Tommy back or things like that we'll do to get them in their right positions. And sometimes they won't pick it up straight away, but regardless of where you play, you've still got to have an impact. And sometimes we can get caught up a little bit in the positions, but we felt the guys today certainly in extended roles were pretty good in those different positions.
Are you getting closer in your mind as to the right combinations?
We keep working on it. It doesn't start or stop. It just keeps evolving. It's certainly not like it was 3 or 4 years ago where you put the magnets up on the board and that's the way it is. We're just working through that, and but that's also exciting as well. We're working through that, getting the right mix and what it looks like.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, guys.